Hello and welcome to this session on 10 habits of highly effective teachers. Effective people always are an inspiration for us. They always motivate us to do better, isn't it? So we have best-selling authors who have written on 7 habits of highly effective people. The 7 habits which are very, very important for people in general. So on the basis of that, if I talk about teachers, we need some other qualities besides, of course, to become effective managers and effective people. There are some general strategies. But what are the 10 habits of highly effective teachers based on what I've observed in in my school and in our forum? There are many teachers who are very, very effective. And what are the factors that contribute to their effectiveness? I have tried to compile this in today's session. So I am sure that you're going to find this quite useful and you can implement this in your own classrooms and in your own lives as well, so that we all aspire to become better teachers, isn't it? And if we are able to incorporate this in our personality, in our character, then obviously we try to become better and better, and which is ultimately good for our students. So starting with the first habit is continuous learning. Nothing can beat continuous learning. We cannot remain in a frog in the well. I have repeatedly told this, that until we learn continuously, we are going to get replaced by artificial intelligence. Very soon, in the next 3-4 years, there is going to be so much of development, because learning is not traditional now. It's anytime, anywhere learning. The information is available freely. So your effectiveness comes in continuous learning. How good are you? How can you make use of technology? How is your delivery in the content is available? How are you able to deliver that content to your students? What are the practical implications of what you teach on your students? That becomes very important. So continuous learning is very, very important. So I have seen the most effective teachers are teachers who have committed themselves to continuous learning. We cannot rely on our B.Ed notes and what we did graduation and post-graduation so many years back. Times are changing at such a fast pace that even before we realize, the next technological advancement has taken place. So we are living in fast-paced life. And the government of India, realizing this, has also introduced so many parameters in the NEP and NCF, where coding is introduced, artificial intelligence is introduced, and slowly, life skills are gaining more importance as compared to the traditional curriculum, which was being practiced over a period of years. So it is important that every teacher stay updated with the latest educational research and technology. And it's important that you seek out professional development opportunities whenever possible. And you need to engage in self-reflection. What am I lacking in? What am I good at? So do a SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. When you do a SWOT analysis, you will realize what our weaknesses are. And then we try to learn and remove the deficits which are there in our character. So it is important. This is the first and foremost, continuous learning. Without continuous learning, I think we'll become redundant and we will soon be replaced. So going to the second one, clear communication. This is something which is very, very important, because our students are dependent on our communication. You must have heard some students saying, whatever the teacher is saying, we can't understand the thing. Maybe they are too fast, maybe they're too slow, maybe they're too soft. So what happens is that communication needs to be very, very clear. Clarity has to be there in thought, expression, and words. Unless we have clarity in our thought, expression, and words, communication becomes non-effective. Our body language is important. Our speaking technique is very important. The pronunciation of the words is important. The pitch that we talk to, the modulation is very, very important. So we need to convey information very effectively. And for a teacher, I think the voice is very, very important. Unless we are loud enough, unless we are clear, our students are not able to understand what we are teaching, right? So it's important that we encourage dialogue in our class. Many of us are afraid to initiate dialogue, because of lack of knowledge, because the questions that the students may ask will be too tough and you are not able to answer. So many teachers fear dialogue. Okay, just listen to me, that's it. No questions should be asked. There should be pin drop silence. So what happens? We are not promoting dialogue. That's a monologue. You are giving instruction. Instruction they can get from internet as well, right? So it's important that we communicate effectively. When we say communicate effectively, it's not a one-way communication. It has to be a two-way communication. Communication is from multi-directional ways. So it's important that we convey all this in very effectively, not only to the students, but when we are talking to the parents, when we are talking to colleagues, there has to be clarity in communication. Third is effective classroom management. I think as teachers, this is what the management, the school principal, vice principal, or whoever is above you, they admire teachers who have good class control. And this is a nightmare. If we are not able to control our classes, it becomes a nightmare for us. However good we are, sometimes when we are unable to control the class, our class is out of control, means that is a headache for us. And when there is noise, obviously, there is also complaint from the higher authorities that you are not able to control your class. So it is important that we set well-defined rules. We always create a positive environment. There has to be order in our classroom, not that, while you're teaching, they are doing something else. There is fighting and behind somebody is bullying someone. They're walking around. That is being observed in many classrooms. So what happens? We need to control it. We are not dictators. We are a democratic people. But at the same time, that democracy has to be established. The rules have to be established that while something is going on, they need to respect. While you're talking, they need to respect. You should give them time to talk. So we need to create a safe and inclusive classroom where students feel respected. Not that, whoever is disturbing, there's a common tendency, throw them out of the class. Then the problem is over. The problem is actually not over, because when you're throwing out the student out of the class, that student has lost interest in the session, in the lesson that you're taking. They are not going to respect you because they know that this teacher is going to come and throw you out. And maybe many years later, they will say, sir or ma'am, see, it could have been dealt this way, but every time I was asked to go out of the class. Because this is an easy technique. Removing that problem from the class becomes an easy technique. Dealing with the child is another thing. So walk up to the student, find out what the problem is. Maybe, he requires a nudge. Maybe there are other issues which can be tackled with the help of counselor or a special educator. But always it's important to find out on a one-to-one basis why that student is behaving like that. So because, you feel that in a class, let's say there are 40, then maybe 6 or 7 who are actually the troublemakers, and they are in the habit of troubling everyone because they derive some secret pleasure out of it, isn't it? Every class it is there. And there should be some variety in, they say variety is the spice. If you have a well-disciplined class or everybody is listening to you, you also sometimes feel that what's wrong? Nobody is saying anything. So we have, because that's real life. Wherever we go in an organization, everything cannot be perfect. So I think it's important that we accept such kind of students as well. There can be hyperactive kids who want to show off certain things, or they want their attention seeking. So classroom management is important, and I think we need to develop skills for that. Raising our voice, punishing children, etc., are not actually very effective. Maybe short term, but long term, we have to devise ways. And therefore, there will be another session on classroom management. If you have missed it, probably you can see that. So, because the classroom management is one of the most important things which a teacher has to master, without which, it's going to be, as I said, a nightmare. If you're teaching 30, 35 years in a school and you are more of a policeman than a teacher, then it becomes problematic. It adds to stress in your lives. You get blood pressure and diabetes and, cardiac problems. So if you want to live a healthy life, we need to be peaceful. If you want to give a positive environment in the class, we need to be effective. We need to be peaceful. We need to be effective. We have to communicate well. Our classes should be in order. So all this is possible when we have control over the class. If the student feels that they have control over the class, teacher doesn't have, then you lost your respect that day. And it's very difficult to gain that respect back once the children decide and brand you as, XYZ, then changing that branding is difficult because it passes from one batch to the other. Okay, so and so teacher is strict, so and so teacher is lenient, so and so teacher is kind, so and so teacher is empathetic. This gets carried over from one batch to the other, and you have to live with that tag for your entire life or whenever you're teaching in that particular school. Differentiation and individualization, very, very important. As educators, I think this is also another important aspect of effective teachers. Effective teachers will never use the same methods for all the students. They will use different methods to tackle different students because their experience and expertise enables them to find out ways to deal with kids. So some may be visual learners, some may be, kinesthetic learners, some may be auditory learners. So we have to tackle all that. Diverse needs and learning styles needs to be mastered by an effective teacher. And you need to be empathetic in all circumstances. So learning opportunities need to be created. If we are able to create learning opportunities, I think that goes well with the student. Student will always remember you that this particular teacher helped me in my need, in my tough times when I was not able to score, or this method, you make some mnemonic or you give some shortcut method to solve, the child becomes so happy that, sir, you helped me in doing this, I was not able to do it. Or they are having some difficulty, you are giving them some extra time. So individualization is important. Go to the student and find out what sort of instruction works. So I have seen that many effective teachers engage in this. First and foremost, passion and enthusiasm. If you are not enthusiastic, okay, you go to the class, oh boys, today we are going to do linear equation in a very monotonous tone, then obviously half the class is already sleeping before you have slept. But you go excited to the class and say, okay, today we are going to do such an important topic. It's going to be applied in real life, this, and we are going to use this as a practical when we go outside. We will be measuring the height of the school building by measuring the shadow or looking at the angle. We are able to find out the height of the school building without actually finding with a measuring tape, which is difficult. So you can use the same technique to measure height of trees and mountains. So when I'm able to tell them that what I'm doing in class is practical, then you have created enthusiasm for that. Otherwise, the first question is, why do we learn all this? And enthusiasm comes in your voice, in your body language. Whatever circumstances you are going through at home or personal front or school, when we go inside the class, I think that smile is so important. When you are connecting with the student, that smile is important because they are innocent. They haven't done anything to you. So why should you get angry? External factors should not come into your dealing with kids. So we need to go there with enthusiasm because we have taken this profession by choice. We are teachers by choice. We have become teachers because we want to serve our kids. And if that enthusiasm is not there in our voice, in our teaching, in our body language, then obviously our classes are going to get boring. We need to be passionate about our subject, passionate about what we are teaching. Then only our students will get motivated and a positive environment can be created in the classroom. So positive environment is important. At the same time, creativity is important. Curiosity is important. Desire to excel is important. So the child should not feel that, Are, pass hi to na, I should just get 33% and pass. No. When we are able to create curious minds, that is when excellence starts. If we are not able to create curiosity, then we have failed as a teacher. When the child is very small, they are curious. They ask questions. They ask questions. And then starting from the parent says, don't ask too many questions. Teacher says, don't ask too many questions. So the curiosity of the child is being killed at every stage, at schools, by teachers, parents, society. Nobody likes to answer questions. Nobody likes to answer questions. Questions are unpleasant. Questions are difficult. But I think as educators, if we are able to answer our students, whatever they ask, we try to answer them at least. I think they will take it in good, positive spirit. They will say, you go to this teacher, ask, and you will get the answer. So many educators, I don't know whether you've had the experience, so many people have said, sir, whenever we send you a message, you always reply. And I get the appreciation for that. Just for replying yes or no, it could be something, or I even say, I don't know. That also is being respected because there are so many of them whom they contact and they don't respond. So response is important. Response is important. That I have come to know when dealing with students and when dealing with educators. A simple response, a thumbs up, even a thumbs up, people appreciate. Thank you, sir, for taking out time for responding to our queries. It's important. So when I'm available to my students, when I'm passionate about my subject, I'm available to them. I tell in the class, dear students, I'm available for you. If you are having any doubts, please WhatsApp me. and I will get back to you at the earliest. That is enough. They know that sir is with you or ma'am is with them, and then you won't believe it. Then when they ask question and you respond, actually, that stays with them. And they will say that, sir, you always used to respond whenever we had a query. So we always felt safe. So that is important. When we create this positivity, then and passion and enthusiasm for our subject, that obviously gets reflected in our classroom culture. High expectations. Effective teachers always have high expectations from their kids. Not that you just pass or something. High expectations. I have a personal experience. When I was a kid, I was a very average kid. But when I was in class 8, I had a class teacher who said that this boy is able to get 85% and above. He is not 70% guy. He can get 85%. He can get 90%. That simple remark made a big difference. And I have never looked back after that. So you never know when a teacher makes a difference in your life. A teacher can make a difference in your life by verbal words. And in my case, a simple remark in the report card that capable of scoring above 85%. That was enough for me, because I know that my teacher is expecting that much out of me, so I need to work. So you need to believe in your students' potential that they can do it, and then they will be able to achieve. So good teachers I have seen always asking their students to do better, to do better. They are not satisfied, higher expectations. So they will set a challenge, and then it is the onus is on the parent, the student, and you to help the child to get to the target. But of course, it has to be an attainable goal. As I said, that from 70, the teacher didn't say that you get 100%. The teacher set a target of 85 for me in the next. From 85, then the teacher said 90. So it was a gradual process, you see. So it is important that high expectations, we have high expectations. If we don't have expectations, they will not perform. This is a fact. If we don't have expectations from our kids, then they will not perform. But if I am saying that, see, I want all of you to do this much. You are 60, get to 70. You are 70, you get to 80. I think that is what makes you a better teacher than many of the others who don't set targets. Flexibility and adaptability, also a very important point for becoming an effective teacher. Some teachers I find are not flexible at all. It's like a Lakshman Rekha, like it cannot be raised, and it's permanent. So you need to be flexible. If suppose I say the last date is 10th August, then the 11th August, the child has, maybe the child was sick, there was some problem or absent. 11th August, the child gets 0. Now the poor child has made a project for 7 days, 8 days and submitting it. So in these cases, flexibility is important. They will respect you for your flexibility. But at the same time, not that you are, it's a practice. I can understand, being a teacher myself, that being flexible is one thing, and making it a practice is another thing. That okay, 10th, and then everybody gives on 15, but there can be exceptions. That's what I'm saying. Flexibility in terms of the need of the child. It cannot be as a rule for everybody, right? So we need to adjust to the needs of the student. So there could be a problem in the family. The child may have been sick. The child may have gone out of station due to some unavoidable circumstances. So according to the circumstances, we need to be flexible and we have to adapt. So we need to embrace change, experiment with new strategies, and find creative solutions to challenges. Creative solutions, children always respect. They always find that when you are doing something creative, something new, they will appreciate that. Sir, ma'am, you did this. I found this very interesting. Or you did that in that particular class. I find it interesting. The crossword that you gave was very nice. The PowerPoint that you are making is very nice. We enjoyed the class. So these are, words of appreciation that you get. Effective teachers collaborate and network. They don't live in a cocoon that I am bothered about myself. Me, myself is one of the worst negative characteristic that a teacher can have. We need to collaborate. We need to network. We need to learn from others. We cannot be the best, right? There will always be someone better than you somewhere else. Maybe you are the best in the school, but if you go to another school, there may be better than someone better than you. You need to find a mentor who is better than you so that you can learn from that person, listen to that person's video, read his or her books. It's important. And you will seek opportunity to continuously collaborate with others. If you are a person who likes to live in an island alone, then that is, you will not excel in group work. As an individual, you may, but then what is going to happen in collaboration and networking? If you are zero, then growth prospects are very less. Because unless we collaborate and network, we cannot move together as a team. Because team itself, if you expand, is what? Together, everyone achieves more. Okay. Together, everyone achieves more. That is team. So unless we work as a team, we cannot achieve more. One person will go up. It's like a football match. If one person is a very good player, and he will not be able to win because the team has to. Similarly, it is important that we collaborate and network so that we become better and better. We need to learn from others. Relationships have to be very strong. And when relationship between colleagues are strong, between parents and child is strong, the child's education is obviously going to get better and better. Ninth is reflection and self-assessment. Many schools have this practice of giving forms at the end of the year, a self-reflective practice. What is your assessment of yourself? Was I able to cover the syllabus? Was my rapport with the parents good? Was my rapport with the students good? Was I able to complete the curriculum in the desired way? What are the the technical aids that I used? What are the teaching aids that I used? What were the effective ways in which I could create curiosity in the minds of kids? What were the courses that I did to improve myself? So this is called reflection. You are reflecting on the whole year. What are the workshops that I attended? How did I improve attending that? What all did I gain and what did I implement? So this is setting goals for yourself. Because if you don't do an assessment, you think that everything is okay. And next year will go by same way. So when we are evaluating our teaching practice, then we will identify areas of improvement. And then happens the professional growth. So you need to get your feedback from students, from parents, from colleagues, your supervisors, from your principal. And then what happens? Those things that are collected so that you become better and you can eliminate on all the negative areas or areas which basically requires improvement. And lastly, empathy and care. Very, very important. We cannot leave any child unaccompanied. We have to be for them. We are parents. We are like parents for them in the school, right? So treat them as your kids. How will you treat your kids? You treat them like that. And they'll be very happy seeing you as an elder brother, elder sister, as a father, as a mother. If you are able to love your students as your own kids, then it's the most beautiful relationship that can exist. So students' well-being and success is very, very important. And that can only happen with empathy. We need to be patient with our students. Don't expect results fast. Some people do, show results fast. Some people take time. Let's not be impatient. Let's be patient. Let's understand the child. What is the capability? What is the aptitude? The aptitude is very important. Some people don't have aptitude for maths or science, and then you're forcing them to do maths and science. Then what happens? The child is not able to do. We need to be empathetic. We need to understand the problems of dyslexic children, problems of children with special needs, hyperactive kids. These are all kids whom we have to take care. So empathy and care has to be shown. And once we deal with all these kids with patience, we build positive relationship with our students, then they also start showing interest. If they love the teacher, they also love the subject. That many parents, I'm sure, must have told you that, sir or ma'am, the student likes you so much, and now he has started studying. So this is what we have to build. As we need to become role models for our students, we need to become role models for our kids, and then I think our classrooms are going to become a better place. And if we try to, exercise autocratic rules and rules which is difficult to implement, then it becomes unachievable. And when goals are unachievable, there is unhappiness, there is stress. So create goals together with the students and be empathetic, be caring, be understanding, be patient. Try to deal with the students in the best possible way, relate with the problems that they have, talk to the parents, talk to the principal, and keep learning. That is important, because as human beings, if we don't learn, then our death begins. Death is not, the loss of life when we stop breathing. Death is actually when we stop learning. Because as I have said many times, The flowing water is always good. If you take water and store it and keep it in a bottle, however pure the water is, over a period of time, that's going to get deteriorate. It is going to deteriorate and it will smell. Same thing will happen if we are not learning, if we are storing up everything inside us and we are not releasing anything, we are not empathetic, then what happens? We also start deteriorating. So we don't want any educator here to deteriorate. We want everyone to progress, and progress will happen when we reach out to our kids, when we reach out to our colleagues, and when we reach out to other educators. So I invite everyone to collaborate, network, and keep learning so that we become better and better educators. Thank you. So on this note, I want to say that although this session had, habits of 10 effective teachers based on what I have observed, it is important to note that habits are different for different people. And there may be some points which I have missed and some points which you don't agree. I think we can always reorder the points or, redo the points according to our situation and our convenience. So these were some random 10 points, which I thought was important. It is quite possible that you may want to add some more of your points and maybe you don't agree with that. So maybe you can WhatsApp me and tell me what is the additional point that could have been, so that in our next session, I will try to add those points. And if you have personal experiences, what worked for you, what didn't work for you, I'll be happy if you share it with me so that I can use all these anecdotes, these real life experiences that you had, either a difficult situation which you solved or a success story. If you share all this, can use it in my session so that it becomes an inspiring story for other educators as well. Or in fact, I would encourage you to come forward in our platforms to share your success stories on how a good educator has transformed the lives of students. So if you think that you have some material to share, you have had experiences, I am ready to invite you to our platform. Any day you can conduct a session on and share your experience. So I'll be happy to listen to you, and I will be happy to also to circulate this to other educators so that, as I said, learning is very important. We learn from others. So if you're willing to share, please do contact me and we can see how we can work out together. Thank you, and God bless you all.